Chapter 37. The Ark. Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood. Its length was 2.5 cubits, and its width 1.5 cubits, and 1.5 cubits its height. He overlaid it with pure gold, inside and outside, and made a molding of gold for it around it. He cast 4 rings of gold for it in its 4 feet, 2 rings on its one side and 2 rings on its other side. He made poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark to bear the ark. He made a mercy seat of pure gold. Its length was 2.5 cubits, and 1.5 cubits its width. He made 2 cherubim of gold. He made them of beaten work at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cherubim at one end, and 1 cherubim at the other end. He made the cherubim of one piece with the mercy seat at its 2 ends. The cherubim spread out their wings above, covering the mercy seat with their wings, with their faces toward one another. The faces of the cherubim were toward the mercy seat. The table. He made the table of acacia wood. Its length was 2 cubits, and its width was 1 cubit, and its height was 1.5 cubits. He overlaid it with pure gold and made a gold molding around it. He made a border of a hand's width around it and made a golden molding on its border around it. He cast 4 rings of gold for it and put the rings in the 4 corners that were on its 4 feet. The rings were close by the border, the places for the poles to carry the table. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold to carry the table. He made the vessels which were on the table, its dishes, its spoons, its bowls, and its pitchers with which to pour out of pure gold. The lampstand. He made the lampstand of pure gold. He made the lampstand of beaten work. Its base, its shaft, its cups, its buds, and its flowers were of one piece with it. There were 6 branches going out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of its one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of its other side. 3 cups made like almond blossoms in one branch, a bud and a flower, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms in the other branch, a bud and a flower. So, for the 6 branches going out of the lampstand. And the lampstand were 4 cups made like almond blossoms, its buds and its flowers, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, for the 6 branches going out of it. Their buds and their branches were of one piece with it. The whole thing was of one beaten work of pure gold. He made it 7 lamps and its snuffers and its snuff dishes of pure gold. He made it of a talent of pure gold with all of its vessels. The altar of incense. He made the altar of incense of acacia wood. It was square. Its length was a cubit, and its width a cubit. Its height was 2 cubits. Its horns were of one piece with it. He overlaid it with pure gold. Its top, its sides around it, and its horns. He made a gold molding around it. He made 2 golden rings for it under its molding crown. On its 2 ribs, on its 2 sides, for places for poles with which to carry it. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices after the art of the perfumer. Chapter 38. The altar of burnt offering. He made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood. It was square. Its length was 5 cubits. Its width was 5 cubits, and its height was 3 cubits. He made its horns on its 4 corners. Its horns were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with bronze. He made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, the shovels, the basins, the forks, and the fire pans. He made all its vessels of bronze. He made for the altar a grating of a network of bronze under the ledge around it beneath, reaching halfway up. He cast 4 rings for the 4 corners of bronze grating to be places for the poles. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. He put the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar with which to carry it. He made it hollow with planks. The basin for washing. He made the basin of bronze and its base of bronze out of the mirrors of the ministering women who ministered at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The courtyard. He made the court. For the south side, southward, the hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their sockets 20, made of bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were made of silver. For the north side, 100 cubits. Their pillars 20, and their sockets 20, made of bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were made of silver. For the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were made of silver. For the east side, eastward, 50 cubits. The hangings for the one side were 15 cubits. Their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And so for the other side. On this hand and on that hand, by the gate of the court were hangings of 15 cubits. Their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings around the court were of fine twined linen. The sockets for the pillars were made of bronze. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were made of silver. Their capitals were overlaid with silver. All the pillars of the court had silver bands. The screen for the gate of the court was the work of the embroiderer, a blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen. 20 cubits was the length, and the height along with the width was 5 cubits, just like the hangings of the court. Their pillars were 4, and their sockets 4, made of bronze. Their hooks were made of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals and their fillets were made of silver. All of the pins of the tabernacle and around the court were made of bronze. The materials used. These are the amounts of materials used for the tabernacle, even the tabernacle of the testimony, just as they were counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Most High God commanded Moses. With him was Oholiab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a skillful workman, and an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet and in fine linen. All the gold that was used for the work and all the work of the sanctuary, even the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel. The silver of those who were counted of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel. A beka a head, that is, half a shekel, according to the sanctuary shekel, for everyone who passed over to those who were counted, from 20 years old and upward, for 603,550 men. The 100 talents of silver were for casting the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil. 100 sockets for the 100 talents, 1 talent per socket. From the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars, overlaid their capitals, and made fillets for them. The bronze of the offering was 75 talents and 2,400 shekels. With this he made the sockets to the entrance of the tent of meeting, the bronze altar, the bronze grating for it, all the vessels of the altar, the sockets around the court, the sockets of the gate of the court, all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins around the court. Chapter 39. Priestly garments. Of the blue, purple, and scarlet, they made finely worked garments for ministering in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. The ephod. He made the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen. They beat the gold into thin plates and cut it into wires to work it in with the blue, the purple, the scarlet, and the fine twined linen, the work of a skillful workman. They made shoulder straps for it, joined together. It was joined together at the two ends. The skillfully woven band that was on it, with which to fasten it on, was of the same piece like its work, of gold, of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. They worked the onyx stones enclosed in settings of gold, engraved with the engravings of a signet, according to the names of the children of Israel. He put them on the shoulder straps of the ephod to be stones of memorial for the children of Israel, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. The breastpiece. He made the breastplate, the work of a skillful workman, like the work of the ephod, of gold, of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was square. They made the breastplate double. Its length was a span, and its width a span, being double. They set it in 4 rows of stones. A row of ruby, topaz, and beryl was the first row, and the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and an emerald, and the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst, and the fourth row a chrysolite, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in gold settings. The stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, everyone according to his name, for the 12 tribes. They made on the breastplate chains like cords of braided work of pure gold. They made the 2 settings of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. They put the 2 braided chains of gold and the 2 rings at the ends of the breastplate. The other 2 ends of the 2 braided chains they put on the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder straps of the ephod in its front. They made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, on its edge, which was toward the side of the ephod inward. They made 2 more rings of gold and put them on the 2 shoulder straps of the ephod underneath, in its front, Close by its coupling, just above the skillfully woven band of the epod. They bound the breastplate by its rings to the rings of the epod with a lace of blue, that it might be on the skillfully woven band of the epod, and that the breastplate might not come loose from the epod, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. Other priestly garments. He made the robe of the epod of woven work, all of it blue. The opening of the robe in the middle of it was like the opening of a coat of mail, with a binding around its opening, that it might not be torn at all. They made on the skirts of the robe pomegranates of blue, purple, scarlet, and twined linen. They made the bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates around the skirts of the robe, between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, around the skirts of the robe, to minister in, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. They made the tunics of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, the turban of fine linen, the linen headbands of fine linen, the linen trousers of fine linen, the sash of fine twined linen, blue, purple, and scarlet, the work of the embroiderer, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. They made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote on it an inscription like the engravings of a signet, holy to the Most High God. They tied to it a lace of blue to fasten it on the turban above, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. Moses inspects the tabernacle. Thus, all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting was finished. The children of Israel did according to all that the Most High God commanded Moses. So they did. They brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent with all its furniture, its clasps, its boards, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, the covering of ram skins dyed red, the covering of sea cow hides, the veil of the screen, the ark of the covenant with its poles, the mercy seat, the table, all its vessels, the showbread, the pure lampstand, its lamps, even the lamps to be set in order, all its vessels, the oil for the light, the golden altar, the anointing oil, the sweet incense, the screen for the door of the tent, the bronze altar, its grating of bronze, its poles, all its vessels, the basin and its base, the hangings of the court, its pillars, its sockets, the screen for the gate of the court, its cords, its pins, and all the instruments of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of meeting, the finely worked garments for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest office, according to all that the Most High God commanded Moses. So the children of Israel did all the work. Moses saw all the work, and behold, they had done it just as the Most High God had commanded. They had done so, and Moses blessed them. Chapter 40. Setting up the tabernacle. The Most High God spoke to Moses and said, "On the first day of the month, you shall raise up the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. You shall put the ark of the covenant in it, and you shall screen the ark with a veil. You shall bring in the table and set in order the things that are on it. You shall bring in the lampstand and light its lamps. You shall set the golden altar for incense before the ark of the covenant, and put the screen of the door to the tabernacle. You shall set the altar of burnt offering before the entrance of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. You shall set the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and shall put water in it. You shall set up the court around it, and hang up the screen of the gate of the court. You shall take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that is in it, and shall make it holy and all its furniture, and it shall be holy. You shall anoint the altar of burnt offering with all its vessels, and sanctify the altar, and the altar will be most holy. You shall anoint the basin and its base, and sanctify it. You shall bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and shall wash them with water. You shall put on Aaron the holy garments, and you shall anoint him and sanctify him, that he may minister to me in the priest office. You shall bring his sons and put tunics on them. You shall anoint them just as you anointed their father, that they may minister to me in the priest office. Their anointing shall be to them for an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations." Moses did so, according to all that the Most High God commanded him, so he did. In the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, the tabernacle was raised up. Moses raised up the tabernacle and laid its sockets, and set up its boards, and put in its bars, and raised up its pillars. He spread the covering over the tent, and put the roof of the tabernacle above it, just as the Most High commanded Moses. He took and put the covenant into the ark, and set the poles on the ark, and put the mercy seat above the ark. He brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the screen, and screened the ark of the covenant, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. He put the table in the tent of meeting on the north side of the tabernacle, outside the veil. He set the bread in order on it before the Most High, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. He put the lampstand in the tent of meeting, opposite the table, on the south side of the tabernacle. He lit the lamps before the Most High, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. He put the golden altar in the tent of meeting before the veil, and he burned incense of sweet spices on it, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. He put up the screen of the door to the tabernacle. He set the altar of burnt offering at the entrance of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and offered on it the burnt offering and the meal offering, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. He set the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water therein with which to wash. Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet when they went into the tent of meeting, and when they came near to the altar, they washed, just as the Most High God commanded Moses. He raised up the court around the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the screen of the gate of the court. So Moses finished the work. The glory of the Most High God. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the Most High God's glory filled the tabernacle. Moses was not able to enter into the tent of meeting because the cloud stayed on it, and the Most High God's glory filled the tabernacle. When the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward throughout all their journeys. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not travel until the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Most High God was on the tabernacle by day, and there was a fire in the cloud by night, in the sight of all of the house of Israel throughout all their journeys.